Welcome to Vital MTB's 2021 Enduro Test Sessions. We knew just where to test these bikes, Reno, Nevada. Surrounded by rugged mountains, strewn with rocky trails, we knew the biggest little city would be the perfect proving grounds for our bikes. Sky Tavern Bike Park is a non-profit that operates on city land and is free for the public to ride. Their expanding trail network includes an adaptive green trail all the way to hard-hitting black diamond runs. From heavy downhills to steep, challenging climbs, the Sierras threw it all at our test bikes. In this video, we'll be exploring the Banshee Titan in a mixed wheel configuration. To read the full review, head to vitalmtb.com. Banshee is a brand with some serious street cred. Whether you are a loyal Banshee owner or have only just heard the name, this is a brand that commands respect. The Titan may not have the most travel, only 155 millimeters, but Banshee was confident it would hold its own in our test session. Utilizing Banshee's KS2 linkage on full bearings, the Titan is claimed to deliver an efficient ride that will blast the descents. Beyond the smaller travel numbers, the Titan runs a geometry combination somewhat all its own. The 445mm reach on our medium is on the small side these days, but was not the shortest in our test. At 452mm, the Titan's chainstays are rather long and were the longest in test. With help from the 64.5 degree head angle, the wheelbase stayed right in the mix at 1235mm. The final outlier of the Banshee was the 120mm head tube length, by far the tallest of any in our test. We ran only a single 5mm spacer under the stem to keep that front end in check. With modular dropouts and a flip chip, the Titan can be run as a full 29er or as a mixed wheel bike. Banshee was kind enough to supply us with both wheel combinations. We went right to the 27.5-inch rear, knowing it would offer our testers and readers far more to work with for the purpose of this review. While it was the only alloy frame in our test, the Titan was the only bike sporting carbon rims courtesy of Ride Fast. Our particular build kit was a brand new offering from Banshee, which tends to focus on selling frames only. One-up bars, stem, grips, and dropper post were all a nice touch. A SRAM X01 drivetrain with SRAM Code RSC brakes, 200mm front rotor, 180mm rear were among the higher end parts in our test. While the Titan had a Fox Performance Elite 38 fork, the rear shock was Fox's Performance X2. Banshee was only one of two brands that supplied Maxxis double down casing on the tires. Nice touch. With unique geometry and materials combination, how did the Banshee impress our testers?
Wow, I love this. I love this bike. I really did see how a bike could have the benefits of both wheel sizes. The bigger wheel in the front, the 29er rolling, and the playfulness in the back. The cornering was great. The responsiveness was great.
I'd never ridden the Banshee before, and I really love the mullet setup. I've had that on previous bikes that I've owned. So getting on the bike, I was immediately pretty comfortable with it. And then again, we dropped into some like pretty steep, rowdy sections, and I think with that 27.5 rear, it really just like squatted down on the rear end and just made it to where that thing just wanted to pretty much monster truck over everything.
The thing that surprised me most was this bike's climbing prowess. Both the rider position as well as the efficiency and traction on the bike was really remarkable. Something else was it carried its speed really well on lower angle stuff, flat rolling terrain. It boogied along nicely. The head tube is really tall, and I just had a very hard time getting on with the bike and getting the most out of it.
This thing felt really kind of funny and unnatural in the parking lot, but once I got it going, it felt a lot more at home. It's definitely a bike that can be driven with your feet, with your hips, which is really cool. And I think the mullet is a factor in that, but also kind of the bar height almost necessarily means you have to drive it with the back. I think probably the biggest weakness is that you really have to be on that bike to get the most out of it for sure. It's not a bike to chill on.
Much as we saw with the Firebird, our team was somewhat split on the Banshee. This begs the question, who is the Banshee for?
I think it's for people who want to do big days. It actually pedals fairly well for a bike of its size, and it certainly doesn't look like a pedaling bike. So it's for people who like to do big days, people who like a bike that responds and gives you a good push back out of big turns, things like that.
Impressively efficient and tons of fun on the trail, the Banshee Titan was a hit with most of our crew. For a more in-depth analysis, head to vitalmtb.com. You can check out our complete test session with a link at the end of this video. If you want to know more about what the Washoe Valley has to offer, head to visitRenoTahoe.com. And until next time, go ride your bike.